like to say that it's going to be as little as Brick said, but it's actually a lot longer, so apologize.
15.
I was thinking a lot about the idea, I guess, of like Janice and like two ends of the same coin, and I think it's interesting with like relationships a lot of the time. We always talk about like opposites attracting, and sort of this. I feel like that was really apparent always with my parents. My mom was always really like very like not passive, but sort of very forgiving, very kind and accepting of things, and my dad was the exact opposite, almost, I would say, in some ways tyrannical, sort of assumptive that like everyone had to do what he expected. And I don't know, so I guess thinking about that, I thought about the fact that that's kind of represented in me in a lot of ways, both the patience and both the impatience, I guess. This is called Sunrise Sunset. It's kind of a creation myth, I guess, addressing, I guess, yeah, my parents and myself. For the purpose of this exercise, you may call me Cabinet27. My mother, Gaia North Star, guiding light to my pervasive dark, tilled the wasted fields of my father's heart until he was able to love me again. My father, Sky Father, kept high up in a vault I could never reach, winking down at me from inky black with moments of searing white light, saw in me salvation, and escaped from the immense emptiness of the heavens. All children are gods at their birth, full of Sky Father's infinite potential and Gaia North Star's infinite grace. We look for what could have been in our children. We shape them like fledgling bonsai and hope to craft our very best selves, the self we should have been but failed to achieve. In the shaping, we do a damage. We stunt the growth, we harm the structure. Control is an unnatural state. It is the fate of all parents to fail their children. Sky Father is a heavy presence, vast, deep, and silent. He speaks rarely. When he does, it looks like falling stars, messages of ill portent, or sharp lightning tongues that rip open the sky and call forth storms. His moods are erratic. One moment blue sky, the next rolling clouds and torrential rain. And through it all, Gaia North Star, she of the black, fertile earth, sat passively. As lightning tore rents in her flesh, she bore it without complaint. As my father's sorrows threatened to drown her, she held her breath and waited. This is fine, she thought. In time, this too will pass. Like the rivers and oceans that grace her flesh, she flows from one thing to the next, her fluid nature making her the perfect partner for Sky Father's fickle temper. It was in this unpredictable setting that I was conceived. As rain and hail pelted my mother's flesh, lightning tore across the sky, plants were torn from her surface. As my father raged for decades, they were drawn together. And for a brief moment, for what equates to minutes in geological time, they touched. And out of this touching, there was me. In this volatile environment was I raised. As father dropped hurricanes and tornadoes onto mother's loamy earth, I watched and took note. This is what love looks like. This is how you express yourself, either with great uproar or solemn silence. There is nothing in between earth and sky except for me caught in the middle. Between every mother and father is a child that must figure it all out for themselves. If I did not like what love looked like, if I did not like the stormy temperament of my father, if I did not like my mother's blind passivity, I would have to figure out the rules for myself. What happened to my parents was tragic. After that first time, they never again were able to bridge the gap between heaven and earth, and the distance only grew with time so that eventually not even I could close it. As a child, I was a great mountain, rooted in my mother's kindness, forever reaching for my unattainable father. As such, I was a perfect vessel for my parents' unavoidable conflicts. I was forced to take sides, sometimes grounded and at peace with my mother, sometimes taking refuge in the clouds with my father. It wasn't long before the distance that my parents were unable to reconcile began to express itself in me. I found myself cold and serene one moment, fiery and destructive the next. I was unstable and unpredictable, and this left me with a sensation of doom that clouded my brow. I rumbled with the promise of a coming storm, belching profanities and cruel sentiments that left me guilty and ashamed. And when finally I did erupt, I spewed words I couldn't take back, words that caked themselves in my flesh, molten magma expressions of rage that drove people from my side and changed my appearance. My reputation grew until few would draw close, knowing that while I may look calm now, that was not a promise I could keep, and eventually there would be only fire and brimstone. And through it all, my mother and father fought their all-encompassing war. Earth and the cosmos forever at odds, while their son developed a protective shell that served as shelter in prison. Until one day, Cabinet27, alone and defeated, grew silent, a last-ditch effort at self-expression through silence. And it worked. Try as they might, Gaia North Star and Skyfather would not be able to reach their son again. And the few pilgrims who did attempt to make their way to my side found themselves unable to get close. I'd like to think that maybe this time will be different. Maybe this time, despite hailstorms from above and foolish kindness from below, I will find the strength to let my rage lie dormant. But I can't promise anything, because one day I too would like to have my own godling. And how can the child do better than the parents when he's only the sum of their parts? Thank you.